Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. The worst 90-day experiment yet just proved the franchise can't be everything at once. The 90-Day Fiance empire just won't stop growing, but the latest addition to the franchise seems like its biggest swing and a miss yet. What started in 2014 as a TLC reality experiment, following 6 couples through the whirlwind K-1 visa process, has since ballooned into more than 20 spin-offs. At this point, it feels like there's always another season airing somewhere. But this summer's newest entry, 90-Day Hunt for Love, abandoned the franchise's core formula, and in doing so, delivered one of its biggest misfires yet. The 90-Day franchise has always had a specific identity. Its unique premise sets it apart from other reality shows, providing a fascinating look at some exceptionally curious couples as they adjust to life together and work through a fast-paced and tricky bureaucratic process. Previous spin-offs have set out to depict each beat of the before, during, and after bringing together an international romance, getting married in a matter of months, and attempting to make a relationship work through an uncommon set of obstacles. But 90-Day Hunt for Love seeks to tell an entirely different story. It seems that the success of shows like Love Island, Too Hot to Handle, and Bachelor in Paradise has inspired the 90-Day franchise to branch out into the beachy group dating format. Hunt for Love is a dishonest departure for the franchise and a weak attempt to follow in the footsteps of other dating shows. The Love Island villa is teeming with charismatic, conventionally attractive influencer types. The 90-Day franchise, on the other hand, is known for something a little less polished. Its members aren't selected for their aspirational appeal. There are rare couples on 90-Day who meet while abroad and fall in love, but many of them are total misses. After a season's worth of observation of almost any of these couples, it becomes quite clear that many of them are seeking out marriage with complete disregard for even the most basic compatibility. That through line of incompatibility aligns with Love Island or any other popular group dating show, as very few of these franchises have a reliable reputation for producing lasting love. But that is where the similarities begin and end. At least on Love Island, the sex appeal at the center of their search for love is remotely believable. 90-Day shows are fascinating in a way that feels closer to intervention than Love Island, a car wreck you can't look away from, a depressing depiction of deeply human dysfunction. The world of 90-Day is littered with transactional relationships, painfully obvious power imbalances, and artificial intimacy. With any hope, as this season of 90-Day Hunt for Love comes to a close, so too will the show as a whole. This franchise was built on ill-fitting couples, cultural clashes, and perhaps most essentially, desperation. Attempting to join these uncomfortable dynamics into a glossy dating show dilutes the franchise's singular appeal. 90-Day needs to lean into what sets it apart instead of forcing a manufactured version of a show it could never be. A spin-off like this runs the risk of losing the voyeuristic fascination that drew in its audience in the first place. The worst 90-Day experiment yet just proved the franchise can't be everything at once. The 90-Day Fiance franchise has always thrived on chaos. For years, TLC's runaway hit has built its empire on culture clashes, language barriers, and the simple, addictive formula of asking, can love conquer all in 90 days? But as the network continues stretching the brand across spin-offs, specials, and experimental side projects, the once magical, messy charm has started showing cracks. And nowhere has that been clearer than in its latest failed experiment, one that has fans cringing, critics rolling their eyes, and longtime viewers wondering if TLC has finally bitten off more than it can chew. The overload problem. When 90-Day Fiance first premiered in 2014, it was groundbreaking. It peeled back the curtain on international romance and all the drama that came with visas, family skepticism, and impossible expectations. But 10 years later, the franchise isn't just a show, it's a sprawling empire. We've got Happily Ever After, Before the 90 Days, The Other Way, The Single Life, Pillow Talk, B90 Strikes Back, and even Discovery Plus exclusives that never made it to cable. Each spin-off has its angle, but collectively, they've transformed what was once a compelling social experiment into a bloated soap opera universe. The latest season of this so-called experiment tried to do what fans had joked about for years: mash every single format together at once. And, as it turns out, throwing everything into one blender doesn't create an intoxicating smoothie. It makes an inedible mess. A Frankenstein season. TLC marketed the newest spin-off as the ultimate crossover event. The concept? Take couples from the other way, singles from the single life, parents from happily ever after, and sprinkle in new daters who hadn't even filed visas yet. Then drop them into one show with one timeline and hope the drama writes itself. On paper, it sounded like a chaotic dream. In practice, it was the worst of every world. The couples who should have been focused on adjusting to new cultures got shoved into group hangouts with exes looking for love. The fresh faces who might have had interesting stories on their own were overshadowed by recycled cast members endlessly rehashing old fights. And in trying to make it feel like a social experiment, TLC staged bizarre group activities. Think couples therapy crossed with speed dating crossed with a family reunion no one asked for. One fan on Reddit called it Love Island meets 90 Day meets Big Brother, and not in a good way. The magic ingredient that went missing. Here's the thing. What made 90 Day Fiance captivating in the first place wasn't overstuffed drama. It was intimacy. Watching Mohammed argue with Danielle over his unwillingness to kiss her, or seeing Anfisa scream at Jorge about his money problems, felt both outrageous and real. These were small, personal conflicts rooted in cultural differences, personality mismatches, and the sheer absurdity of rushing a marriage in 90 days. This latest experiment bulldozed over that intimacy. Instead of focusing on the natural, awkward, tender, and sometimes heartbreaking moments of love under pressure, it forced cast members into a reality competition format. Suddenly, they weren't people navigating relationships. They were contestants performing roles. The result? Manufactured arguments, recycled drama, and zero of the authenticity that gave the show its cult following. Too many characters, not enough story. Another glaring issue was the cast size. The show tried to cram more than 20 people into a season designed for 8 episodes. Instead of digging deep into why one couple couldn't agree on where to live, or following a single mom's difficult journey to bring her fiancé to America, we got quick snippets of drama with no context. A fight about money would cut away to a new relationship montage, which would abruptly switch to a scene of parents gossiping about their kids' partners. It felt less like storytelling and more like flipping through channels on fast forward. By trying to be everything at once, dating show, family drama, travel docuseries, and reunion special, the season failed to be any one thing well. When a brand loses its core, this flop speaks to a larger problem, the danger of overextending a franchise. At its heart, 90 Day Fiancé was never meant to be Survivor or The Bachelor. It wasn't designed to churn out endless spin-offs. Its brilliance came from a specific, high-stakes premise: love, immigration, and the countdown of the K-1 visa clock. That's it. By straying so far from that core, TLC diluted what made the show special. Instead of asking, can this couple survive 90 days? The experiment asked, how many ways can we recycle cast members and force them into new drama? Fans noticed. Social media lit up with complaints about how disjointed and joyless the season felt. Many long-time watchers admitted they didn't even finish it. For a franchise that once prided itself on so bad it's good, that's a damning sign. What the franchise needs to learn. The failed experiment proved one thing: 90 Day Fiancé cannot be everything at once. It can't simultaneously be a matchmaking show, a therapy session, a travel documentary, a family drama, and a crossover event. Trying to juggle it all leaves fans exhausted, not entertained. If TLC wants the brand to survive another decade, it needs to go back to basics. Smaller casts, Higher stakes. Real couples navigating real immigration timelines. No gimmicks. No forced group activities. Just the raw, uncomfortable, sometimes hilarious look at what happens when love collides with bureaucracy. Because when the show is stripped down to its essence, it works. It sparks empathy, outrage, laughter, and endless debate. It becomes water cooler television again, not background noise. The silver lining. The good news? A failed experiment isn't the end of the world. In fact, it's a wake-up call. Reality franchises live and die by their ability to adapt. Just look at The Real Housewives. For every flop spin-off, there's a season that brings the franchise roaring back to relevance. TLC now knows where the line is. The everything at once approach doesn't work. Fans don't want a mega crossover, they want human stories. They don't need exes and parents thrown into one pot. They need authentic connections and real conflict. If the producers can take that lesson to heart, the franchise may not only survive this misstep, it could come back stronger. The final word. The latest 90-day experiment will go down as the franchise's worst idea yet. But maybe that's exactly what was needed. It forced everyone, producers, cast, and fans alike, to remember what made the show special in the first place. Sometimes the simplest formula is the strongest. 2 people, 1 visa, and 90 days to figure out if love is enough. And maybe, just maybe, TLC will finally realize that less really is more.